Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel, Cracking IELTS 9.0. Today I'll be discussing Cambridge 15 Test 4 Reading Passage 1 of the Academic Reading Module. The heading says The Return of Hurango. Let's look at the first set of questions now. Here we have the fill-ups, and then we have some more fill-ups in a tabular form, and then we have true, false, and not given. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's move to the first question. The importance of Hurango tree. Its roots can extend as far as 80 meters into the soil. So this is our first hint. Our answer will be coming after this point, after this sentence, right? So can access dash deep below the surface. So it can access something which is deep below the surface. Okay, so these are our keywords. Now let's look at the passage. Coast of Peru is a narrow 2000 kilometer long strip of desert squeezed between the Andes and the Pacific Ocean. It is also one of the most fragile ecosystems on Earth. It hardly ever rains there, and the only year-round source of water is located tens of meters below the surface. Okay. This is why the Hurango tree is so suited to live there. It has the longest roots of any tree in the world. They stretch down 50 to 80 meters and as well as sucking up water for the tree. They bring it into the higher subsoil, creating a water source for other plant life. So here is our first hint. It can stretch down up to 50 to 80 meters, right? So what's the question? Can access dash deep below the surface. So what is there deep below the surface? See, a source of water is located tens of meters below the surface. It means deep below the surface. What is located deep below the surface? Water, right? So water should be your answer. Okay. Also here we have one more hint. Sucking up water for the tree. They bring it into the higher subsoil. Okay. So water is very deep below, which the roots of this tree bring it up, right? So the answer for the first question should be water. Right, next one. Was a crucial part of local inhabitants dash a long time ago. So what are the keywords here, guys? Crucial part, local inhabitants, long time ago. So let's read the passage further. Dr. David Jones, archaeobotanist at Cambridge University, has been studying the role of Hurango tree in landscape change in the lower Ica Valley in southern Peru. He believes that the Hurango was key to the ancient people's diet, and because it could reach deep water sources, it allowed local people to withstand years of drought when their other crops failed. Right? I think we got the answer, guys. Okay, look at this sentence now. He believes the Hurango was the key. Key means crucial. To the ancient people means local inhabitants. What is that? Ancient people's diet. So local inhabitants died a long time ago. Okay. So the answer for the second one should be what? Diet, right? Ancient people means local inhabitants diet. Clear? Next one. Helped people to survive periods of dash. So people survived something. Okay, what is it? Periods means very lengthy periods maybe. Okay. Now look at the continuous sentence. Now let's look at this one. Because it could reach deep water sources, it allowed local people to withstand years of drought when their other crops failed. Oh, what does this mean? Withstand means surviving, right? Local people, so helped people to survive periods means years. Local people to withstand years of drought. So this is what we are looking for. Helped people to survive periods of drought. So the answer should be drought. And be careful about the spelling, guys. Okay, even if you miss one letter, that will be considered as wrong. The next one then. Prevents dash of the soil. So prevents is a keyword and soil is one more keyword. Let's look at the passage again. But over the centuries, huarango trees were gradually replaced with crops. Cutting down native woodland leads to erosion as there is nothing to keep the soil in place. Wow. So when the hurangos go, the land turns into a desert. Nothing grows at all in the lower Eka Valley now. Okay, great. So I got the answer. Did you catch it? Let's read this one then. Cutting down native woodland leads to erosion as there is nothing to keep the soil in place. So the answer is in this sentence. What is it? You are right, erosion. So prevents erosion of the soil. Okay, soil erosion we call. See, cutting down these trees, it will lead to erosion. Okay, so if the trees are there, erosion can be prevented, right? So it prevents the soil erosion, I can say. Okay, prevents the erosion of the soil. Next one, again, prevents land from becoming a dash. I think we just read it. Okay, so when the hurangos go, means when they disappear, the land turns into a desert. Wow. So again, if the hurangos are available, then it can prevent the land from turning into a desert, right? So this is what we are looking for. Desert is our answer. So prevents land from becoming a desert. Clear, guys? So let's move to the next set of questions. So look at the instructions carefully. No more than 2 words. Okay. So we have the independence of writing up to 2 words here. Okay. So traditional uses of huarango tree, part of the tree and the traditional use. So all these things, they are the parts of the tree. So they are used as a fuel in medicine, in construction. So let's find out which part is used for which purpose. Right. For centuries, the huarango tree was vital to the people of neighboring Middle Ika Valley. 2. They grew vegetables under it and ate products made from its seed pods. Its leaves and bark were used for herbal remedies, while its branches were used for charcoal for cooking and heating, and its trunk was used to build houses. Wow. I think we got the answers, right? So let's read from here. Its leaves and bark were used for herbal remedies. What do you mean by herbal remedies? For medicine, right? For medicinal purposes. So what is the answer? Leaves and bark. So the 7th one should be what? Leaves and bark. So you have to write both the answer, guys. If you write leaves and leave this one, it's wrong. If you write bark and leave the leaves, it's again wrong. You have to write both the answer to get the full mark in this. Okay. Next, fuel and construction are pending. Let's see. And its branches were used for charcoal, for cooking and heating. Wow. So for cooking and heating means, what is the purpose? Is it construction or fuel? Yes, you are right. It is for fuel, right? So the branches are used for charcoal, for cooking and heating purposes. So answer for the 6th one should be branches, right? Now construction is the pending one. Okay. and its trunk was used to build houses. Okay, building houses means construction. So the answer is clearly trunk. Okay, so yeah, these two were quite easy, right? So here we have true, false, and not given. Okay, so let's read one by one. Local families have told Valley about some traditional uses of Hurango products. Okay, so first of all, what are the keywords here? Local families told Valley, some guy, about some traditional uses of Hurango. Okay, let's read the passage and try to understand. Okay, we will read the fourth passage now. So here is this guy, Bailey. Can you see this? So we have to read this one now. Of the forest that were here 1,000 years ago, 99% have already gone, says botanist Oliver Bailey from Kew Gardens in London, who together with anthropobotanist Dr. William Milliken is running a pioneering project to protect and restore the rapidly disappearing habitat. In order to succeed, Bailey needs to get the local people on board, and that was meant overcoming local prejudices. Wow. Increasingly aspirational communities think that if you plant food trees in your home or street, it shows you are poor and still need to grow your own food. In order to stop the middle Ika Valley going the same way as the lower Ika Valley, Valley is encouraging locals to love the Hurangos again. It's a process of cultural resuscitation. He says he has already set up a Hurango festival to reinstate a sense of pride in their eco heritage and has helped local school children plant thousands of trees. Wow. So, in this passage, did we read about any local families or local people? Hmm? So, local people, we have read it here. Okay, getting the local people on board and overcoming the local prejudices. That's it. Okay, did these local people tell Valley about the Hurango products? Like any traditional uses of this Hurango? Did we read anything like that in the passage? Obviously, no. Okay. So we have read about local families and Valley, but they didn't tell him anything about the traditional uses. So what is this? So the answer for ninth one should be not given, right? Good. Let's move to the next one. Farmer Alberto Benavides is now making a good profit from growing Hurangos. So we have one guy here, Alberto, is now making a good profit from growing Hurangos. So whether this guy is making a profit or a loss or nothing is mentioned about this, that we have to check now. So where can you see the name Alberto? Yes, in this passage, right? Alberto Benavides. So let's read this passage and get some idea about him, okay? And some farmers are already planting Hurangos. Alberto, owner of the Ika Valley's only certified organic farm, which Valley helped set up and has been planting the tree for 13 years. He produces syrup and flour and sells these products at an organic farmers market in Lima. His farm is relatively small and doesn't yet provide him with enough to live on, but he hopes this will change. The organic market is growing rapidly in Peru. I am investing in the future, he says. Okay, so what did you understand from this passage, guys? Do you think he's making a good profit or is he making a loss? What do you think? And where is the answer? Can you spot it? Let's read this sentence again. Okay, this sentence. What do you think? See, his farm is relatively small and doesn't yet provide him with enough to live on. Means he is not making any good profit still. He thinks, he hopes this will change in some time future. Okay, so still it is not providing any good profit. He thinks that things will change in the future. So the organic market is growing rapidly in Peru. I am investing in the future, he says. So this word doesn't yet provide him with enough to live on carries the answer, right? So what does the question say? Farmer Alberto is now making a good profit? No, he's not making. He's not yet there. So this one is contradicting with the passage. So the answer should be false, right? Great. So the answer is false clearly. Okay, let's move to the next one. Valley needs the cooperation of farmers to help preserve the area's wildlife. Okay, again this guy popped up. Valley needs the cooperation of farmers to help preserve the wildlife. Okay, let's read further and understand. But even if Valley can convince the local people to fall in love with the Hurango again, there is still the threat of the larger farms. Some of these cut across the forest and break up the corridors that allow the essential movements of mammals, birds, and pollen up and down the narrow forest strip. In the hope of contracting this, he is persuading farmers to let him plant forest corridors on their land. He believes the extra woodland will also benefit the farmers by reducing their water usage through a lowering of evaporation and providing a refuge for biocontrol insects. Wow. So we have this guy called Valley, and what would we read about the farmers here? So he's persuading the farmers to let him plant forest corridors on their land in the hope of contracting this. Okay. So what does he need any support from the farmers or not? What do you think? Yes, in the hope, see, some of these cut across the forest and break up the corridors that allow the essential movement of mammals and down the narrow forest strip. So to counter this, he is persuading the farmers to let him plant forest corridors on their land. So he believes the extra woodland will also benefit the farmers by reducing the water usage. So definitely he needs support from the farmers in order to protect the wildlife. So here this sentence carries the answer. Okay. So Valley needs the cooperation of farmers to help preserve the wildlife. Yes, true. Of course he needs. Without their support he can't do that, right? So answer is true. Next one. For Valley's project to succeed, it needs to be extended over a very large area. So for Valley's project to succeed, it needs to be extended over a very large area. Okay, let's read further now. If we can record biodiversity and see how it all works, then we are in a good position to move on from there. Desert habitats can reduce down to very little, Valley explains. It's not like a rainforest that needs to have this huge expanse. Life has always been confined to corridors and islands here. If you just have few trees left, the population can grow up quickly because it's used to exploiting water when it arrives. He sees his project as a model that has the potential to be rolled out across other arid areas around the world. If we can do it here, in the most fragile system on earth, then that's a real message of hope for lots of places, including Africa, where there is drought and they just can't afford to wait for the rain. Wow. So what do you think, guys? For his project to succeed, does he need a large area or a small area would be enough? What do you think, and where is the answer? Shall I tell you? Okay. See, let's read this sentence again. It's not like a rainforest that needs to have this huge expanse, means huge area. So it's not like a rainforest. Life has been always confined to corridors and islands here. So if we have just few trees left, so a large area is not needed. If we have just a few trees, the population can grow up very quickly because it is used to exploiting water when it arrives. So what do you think is the answer? So the statement is agreeing with the passage or is it disagreeing? So for Valley's project to succeed, it needs to be extended over a large area? No, it doesn't need a large area like a rainforest. Only a few trees would do. That's what is mentioned in the passage, right? Next, Whaley has plans to go to Africa to set up a similar project. Wow. Let's read again. I think the answer is in the last sentence, right? So if we can do it here in the most fragile system on earth, then that's a real message of hope for lots of places, including Africa, where there is drought and they just can't afford to wait for the rain. So what do you think is the answer? It looks like it's true, right? Because he's talking about Africa and setting up a similar project. Because if they can do it in the most fragile means, most sensitive part of the world, then obviously they can do it in Africa. So this one looks like true, right? But no, it's not true. Why? What is the question? Read it clearly. Whaley has plans to go to Africa to set up the similar project. Now, does Whaley said he has plans to go to Africa? What did he say? He said that if we can do it here, then we can do it in Africa also. That's what he said, simply. But he didn't say he had plans to go to Africa and to set up a similar project, right? So the answer for this one would be not given. Okay. Not given. Whaley nowhere said that he has plans. No, he did not say. He said that if we can do it in this fragile area, then we can do it in Africa as well. So the answer should be not given. So don't get confused, guys. Okay, some questions are meant to confuse you, but don't get diverted and confused. Okay, read the passage again and again. Read it multiple times till you understand it. Okay, so this is my sincere advice. So that is the end of today's video, guys. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. This video would be extremely helpful for people who want to crack the IELTS test. If you can follow my tips and tricks, I am sure that you can score more than 8 bands in the IELTS reading module. So until next time, goodbye, have a great day.